All right, so I'm going to show you how to do this worksheet in your workbook. It's called 1-Point Perspective, creating 3D forms out of all of these two-dimensional shapes. We went over what perspective, what vanishing point is, how to create the illusion of depth, right? So this is the page right before the worksheet in the book, and we went over these things, but we can create that illusion of real life by using overlap, shading, placement, size, value, and focus. We've done some of these already, but now we're going to focus on linear perspective. And if you look at that little picture here, you can see that the shape is getting smaller as it goes back into space, and they're all kind of going to this one dot, which is called our vanishing point for 1-Point perspective. So for this page, it's a little small. Originally it was supposed to be the other direction, but for some reason it printed this way. You are going to be creating the forms using this as our vanishing point. You have shaded forms using a light source and using a gradation scale or a gray scale or a value scale. But now we just want to use perspective lines. And everybody has kind of done this before when they draw a cube, but maybe you didn't know that you were creating 1-point perspective, or maybe your lines weren't really perfect in creating that 1 point. So for this worksheet, basically what you're going to need is a pencil and a ruler or a straight edge, like a flat piece of cardboard or something. And there's just a couple of rules when you're doing this. The first one being that what we always want to do is our ruler should basically always be pointing at our vanishing point. So I'm going to work on this square right here. I'm going to put my pencil at this far corner. I'm going to point my ruler to the vanishing point, and I'm just going to draw a line about that far down because you can always erase. Then I'm going to go to this corner, put my ruler on my pencil, point it to my vanishing point, checking each time, and draw a line. I'm going to go to this corner, put my pencil on the corner, point my ruler so it's twisted around here to the vanishing point, draw a straight line. I am not going to go to this corner because then I'll be crossing through the shape and making a see-through shape basically, and I don't want to do that. I want to make a solid form. So after I've taken my 3 corners down, because this one would cross through, I twist my ruler around and I put it on my flat edge of my shape right here, so it's on the square, and then I simply scoot it over parallel and I draw a line connecting these 2 lines. So I have not moved or twisted my ruler at all. It is parallel to this line, back and forth. Then I hold my ruler on the bottom edge, slide it down parallel till it meets this one right here to create this corner, and I make that line. Now you can see if I erase up these little tails that I made, I've created a form that looks like it's flying in space. Okay, so let me do a few more. This big rectangle up here, I put my pencil here. You'll see that it crosses through the shape, so I'm not going to do that one. I'm just going to come right down to this corner, point it to the vanishing point, make a line. It doesn't really matter exactly how long you draw those lines down. You don't want them to be super tiny because then you have really thin shapes or forms. So give it a little bit of length. You can always erase it up. So I put it on that corner. Again, I wouldn't do this one because it would slash through the shape. And this one's pretty simple. It only had 2 lines. I hold my ruler here. I scoot it down to where I think would be a good spot. Nice and parallel to that line there. And erase up the extra tails. Okay, so you're going to go through and you're going to do all of these shapes, including the star and the arrow, which are a little bit trickier. So I'll come over here. I put my ruler at this point of the star to the vanishing point. You also have to include these corners here to the vanishing point. To the vanishing point. This one's a little tricky. Yep, I can still do it without slashing through. To the vanishing point. Actually, a few of these might work too, but I'll just stick on this side. Now, parallel lines. I'm on this plane, this line here. Slide it. This plane here. Slide it. This plane here. Slide it up. So all those corners match. This plane here. Slide it over. Parallel to the actual shape. Erase your little tails. to get a three-dimensional form. The circle. Now circles are a little tricky with 1-point perspective, so I usually just kind of go to the outside of my circle here, draw a line, go to the outside of my circle here, because then it really becomes like a column, a tube. And then I want to try to recreate this curve. So I'm just going to kind of go like that. Okay, not perfect on those. So the point of this is to show you that you can create all these forms kind of floating in space here by using 1-point perspective. So remember, you start at the corners, you're always either pointing to the dot or you're parallel to the actual shape, and we are not slashing through the shapes. Okay, so you'll do all of those for that worksheet.